Yes, everybody, welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com, or of course, if you are watching on our fast-growing YouTube channel, that is Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me, as he always does, THI publisher Andrew Jones. And AJ here for another off-season UNC football ISO series podcast. If you haven't seen the ones we've done already, after this video is done, click our channel below. Head on over there. They should be towards the top of what we've been putting out over here. And we also have a playlist for the UNC football ISO series as well. You can check out, have all these videos in there. But in this one, we're going to be focusing on North Carolina cornerback Tony Grimes, a guy I'm really interested in, really looking forward to seeing what he can do on the football field next year for the Tar Heels as he continues to develop. Real quickly, before I kick it to you, before we dive into it, check out the Rogue Shop, our sponsor on this one, rogueshop.com. If you're an avid listener of our channel, you've definitely heard us blast them. Fantastic company with some awesome products. CBD, Delta 8, tinctures, oils, gummies, candies, creams, specialize in top shelf family grown hemp products for everyone. So if you guys want to save a little bit on your order as well, use that promo code TARHEELS10. I've used it. AJ's used it. A couple other people on our staff have used it. Heck, even my parents ordered a couple products a couple weeks ago, and my fiance as well uses the cream all the time. So this is really, really legit stuff, really, really good stuff as well. Again, use that promo code TARHEELS10 to save at rogueshop.com. All right, AJ, Tony Grimes. Around 6'1", 197-pound cornerback going into his junior season for the Tar Heels. Started all 13 games of defensive back for Carolina last season as well. Really, really good player for the Tar Heels. AJ, under a new scheme with Chizik, when you've seen what he's done in the past as well with Grimes, as talented as he is, what are your kind of expectations for Grimes next season, not only in a new scheme, but going into, his first upperclassman season as a junior for Carolina?
Well, I think if you ask MJ Stewart how he appreciated Gene Chizik and Charlton Warren coming on board back in 2015, he'd say, yeah, worked out real well for me.
Yeah.
And that's MJ Stewart. MJ's a fantastic player, fantastic talent, but Tony Grimes is NFL talent. He's first-round talent. Mm-hmm. So now he has to show that he can be a first-round type player in order to end up in the first round next year, which is the plan. But he's kind of dabbled in some of those first round, way off into the future, distant mock drafts. Whether or not he ends up there will totally depend on his performance this year and then what he does at the combine. He's one of those kinds of guys. So I think that he will benefit from the new scheme, from the new staff, from more simplification with respect to pre-snap communication and just what they do. You got to let dudes be dudes. You go out and recruit a lot of dudes, let them be dudes. One of the problems on the defense last year, the last few years, is dudes weren't allowed to be dudes so much because there was so much other stuff in the way, from the communication, from the scheming, to having 6'6" guys cover, receivers downfield, which didn't make a whole lot of sense, as Cedric Gray so eloquently put back in April when we spoke to him after the spring game. So a guy like Grimes, you must let him be who he is. Yeah, he needs to improve on some technique. He's been very open about that. He needs to improve the hands, the vision, when to turn your head, that kind of stuff. But those things, I think, will occur over the course of this season. The potential for him to be a first-round all-ACC kind of guy and play himself into the first round, or at least, first, second round, high-end stuff is absolutely there. There's no reason it shouldn't happen, barring injury. He's one of those kinds of guys. He's now going to have some people on staff, in addition to Dre Bly, in addition to the culture that they already have, that will help him get there. I think a better pass rush is going to help a guy like Grimes. I think, we haven't seen him pick off a lot of balls. He hasn't done that kind of stuff yet. He's a good coverage guy. He's got the length and all that kind of stuff. It wouldn't surprise me to see him pick off a few balls this year because of a better pass rush, because of more third and longs that the defense creates, which I think they're going to do more of. It's going to play more into him getting a high PFF grade and getting his hands on a few more balls. So I expect enormous things from Tony Grimes this season.
I couldn't agree more. I'm going to run through a couple stats real quick before I kind of give my 2 cents on him. Started 13 games of defensive back last season for the Tars. For those who don't remember, came to Carolina early when he should have been a senior in high school, and during his true freshman season appeared in 12 games and made 4 starts. So he's a guy that came in with very high expectation. I think for the most part has lived up to that. All ACC honorable mention last year, tied for 5th in the league last season with 9 pass breakups, and finished the year with 47 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. And AJ, I think you hit the nail on the head with what you said about this scheme, because when I look at this cornerback room in particular, this is one room that I'm really looking forward to seeing next season because, like you said, you've got dudes there. And just to name a couple, Storm Duck, Tony Grimes, fantastic cornerbacks, fantastic athletes, fantastic players. And I think when you take those chains off of them and take some of those other things that they had to do under Bateman's scheme that was maybe a little bit unnecessary for guys as talented as they are, and you make it simple and you say you go out there and you cover your guy, you win your 1v1 battle, you don't let your guys catch the ball. I think these guys are going to excel at that under just a more of a simplified scheme. And the cornerback room in particular is one I'm really looking forward to seeing next year under Gene Chizik's tutelage. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Grimes can do. What do you think the next step for him is? I know he hasn't really hit that all ACC level, season yet. He was always an honorable mention. But I think would you agree that is the next expectation?
Well,
that's
there's
where
no
he should
doubt
be.
about it. And by the way, just to take your point about Duck and Grimes, when healthy, they're the guys out there, right? Kyler McMichael played a ton. Kyler McMichael was a 4-star kid, top 50 kid coming out of high school, and he went to Clemson for a year. He knew that with a healthy Duck and a healthy Grimes, he wasn't going to play a ton. And they weren't going to move him over to the star position. He wasn't going to play a ton. He left, and he on the weekend of the draft, and pretty soon after the draft ended, he quickly signed a free agent deal. He's an FA guy going to be in a camp. But point is, a guy that knew he wasn't going to get on the field a whole lot with those two out there was signed. That's how good those two are. And I think them both being really good helps each other out. You can't pick on one. So I don't think people are going to avoid Grimes because Duck's out there, and they're not going to avoid Duck because Grimes is out there. They're going to make each other better. So I think if they're both healthy, and health has been an issue for Duck, it's been an issue at the corner spot the last few years, I think you're going to see both of their production go up. The ascension is going to be very clear, and it's going to be somewhat at the same trajectory, the same pace. Mac has said multiple times, Storm Duck is an NFL guy. Absolutely, Tony Grimes is. So I think if Duck's healthy, Grimes is going to be even better because he's going to get balls to deal with. He's going to have opportunities to impact the game when you have two great corners out there. So I think all ACC, yeah. I think all America, yeah. I think first round is certainly there. I'm not sure I would project it at this moment. I think Miles Murphy is a better projection for the first round from Carolina, but I think Tony Grimes absolutely has that within reach. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a big time player for Carolina this year. We'll talk about Duck in a later podcast too, where we're going to hit on him as well.
Absolutely.
But
I'll make the same point about 100% him that I just made there.
the same podcast.
Totally relevant. It's totally relevant. No doubt about it.
It really is. Really looking forward to seeing how that, a guy like Tony Grimes. I put Kevin Hester on my kind of watch list for next year as well, because I'm really interested to see how he continues to develop as just a guy who hasn't played football for a long time. But I think I'm going to throw Tony Grimes on there too, because I'm really interested to see if he can take that next step, because I do expect him to, and I'm really excited to see what he does under Gene Chizik, because I think that could, that schematic, that kind of coaching style, and that football expertise, that high level of coaching that he offers, it could really, really work out well for that cornerback room and Tony Grimes in particular.
Jacob, we'll do a star power 5 kind of list before the season starts.
Yeah.
For 5 Carolina players that have star power. His name's going to be on there. Absolutely.
He will be on that list. 100%.
And it might be the first one on there, because while Murphy might go higher in the draft, Tony Grimes with the swag, the way he carries himself, he's a very interesting interview. He's really improved in that area. He's the kind of guy that has star power. I mean, he'll embrace all of that. He's got the right moxie for a corner. He's going to look good on the field after making a play. Cameras are going to love him. So the star power is all over the place with him.
100%. I think he's going to have a big year for the Tar Heels going into his junior season. That's going to do it for this one, the Tony Grimes edition of our offseason UNC football ISO series. Again, check out our podcast sponsor, The Rogue Shop. Check them out, rogueshop.com. Use that promo code TARHEELS10 to save on your order. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, so you know every single time we upload. See you guys on the next one. Thanks.